Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Peeping Ballers. I'm your host Albert, and today we're going to talk about the turmoil that's engulfed the South Korean national football team. If you saw our previous video with my partner Jason, you'll know that there was an alleged scuffle at the Asian Cup before the semifinal match against Jordan between Heung-min and Kang-in. Jason did a great job breaking that down, and today I'm going to talk about the press conference and executive committee meeting that the Korea Football Association had to discuss our performance at the Asian Cup and also to discuss this alleged locker room incident. So, before I get deeper into the clown show that's engulfing the national team, I've seen a few comments on our previous videos about people saying, when is Albert going to apologize for giving Jurgen Klinsmann credit for the wins against Saudi Arabia and Australia? Oh my God, he has no idea what he's talking about. Never. I have nothing to apologize for, guys. Two things can be true at the same time. Jurgen Klinsmann is a horrible tactician, but he also deserves credit for the come from behind and gutsy wins against Saudi Arabia and Australia. If you may or may not like it, but he made the right subs at the key moments to keep us in that game, and we won, and we made it to the semifinal against Jordan, where albeit we only had 0 shots on target and we lost. And that is definitely Jurgen Klinsmann's fault, and he should definitely be fired. Okay? So now that's out of the way. Let's dive deep into the topic for today. Thursday in Seoul, Korean football officials basically recommended the dismissal of Jurgen Klinsmann as head coach of the men's national team. The national team committee of the KFA reached their decision during a post-mortem meeting at the KFA house in central Seoul. Now, guys, Jurgen Klinsmann did attend this meeting, but he did it via video conference from his home in the United States, which is so shameful. I mean, this dude flew in to Incheon International Airport last week after the Asian Cup. This fool didn't even wait 1 week before he flied back to California, and he couldn't even be bothered to be here in person for this post-mortem meeting. It shows you the lack of dedication to this job and the lack of respect that he has for Koreans. During this meeting, which lasted apparently 3+ hours, Hwang Bo-kwan, who is the KFA's technical director, he basically told reporters that in this meeting we all agreed that we had to fire Klinsmann, or at least we're going to recommend to fire Klinsmann. So in case you guys don't know how the KFA is structured, there's a committee of people who make recommendations after tournaments, and these recommendations are then forwarded to the KFA president, Mong-gyu. Now, the KFA president is the only one who has the ability to act on these recommendations. So, since this committee recommended to him fire Jurgen Klinsmann, Chung can either take this recommendation and accept it and fire Jurgen and his entire staff, or you can say, buzz off, I'm the boss, I'll take your recommendation under advisement, but this dude is staying for the time being. Public pressure on Chung Mong-gyu to fire Klinsmann is immense, and you could feel it in the press conference today. There were a ton of reporters at the KFA house in Seoul. I've never seen so much interest for a simple post-tournament, post-mortem meeting, but that's what happened. Now, Hwang Bo-kwan's quotes were very interesting. He said, quote, for a number of reasons, we concluded that Klinsmann would no longer be able to show his leadership as head coach of the national team. We will report our conclusion to the KFA. If you ask me the likelihood of Chung Mong-gyu firing Jurgen Klinsmann, I don't know. I think it'd be at 60-40 right now. 60, he's going to fire, and 40, he's not. The thing about Jung, guys, is that he really does not care about what the public thinks. He's been in charge of the KFA since, I believe, 2013. And maybe his only good decision at the time was allowing Kim Pang-gon to hire Paulo Bento. Besides that, his tenure has been full of potholes, corruption, mismanagement, accusations of a toxic workplace. It's just been a total mess. So he knows that the public already hates him. And despite the fact that the public pressure is reaching a boiling point that it's never reached before, I'm still not super certain that he's going to acquiesce to this pressure, but I think he will. And I think he's going to do it because basically what's going on is that most of the bosses at the KFA want Jurgen Klinsmann gone. I don't know any manager, any person in upper management that wants to return to a workplace where most of their coworkers believe that they should be fired. So that's reason number one. But reason number two is Chung Mong-gyu, I believe, is about to run for an important election. He's running for a position on the AFC's executive committee, and he's the only candidate from the East Asia zone, which means that he is still trying to stay relevant in international football. And considering how much heat is being placed on him back in South Korea, I'm not sure he's going to want those kinds of headlines when he takes this job with the AFC. Unfortunately, I think it's better for Korean football if Chung is also sacked along with Klinsmann, but since Chung is the boss, the only way we can get rid of him is if he resigns himself. Our next matches are going to be in late March. It'll be a World Cup qualifier at home against Thailand at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Guys, if Jurgen Klinsmann is still the head coach, then the negative energy from the fans directed at this national team is going to be at an epic level. It's going to be super toxic. So there's just no way that we can keep Klinsmann. But again, never underestimate Mong-gyu. I mean, this is the same guy that tried to pardon, I think, over 100 people for match-fixing bribery allegations last year. And the only reason he went back on that decision was because the public was so disgusted by that idea. In terms of potential replacements for Jurgen Klinsmann, I've heard 3 names. Kim Ki-dong, who is the manager of FC Seoul. Good manager, but doesn't really make sense because he'd have to do 2 jobs. The other name is Choi Yong-soo, who is the former Kang-in FC manager. Don't really rate him or his tactics or his personality. And I'm not sure if this is true, but I heard from someone on Twitter that he actually might be very sick right now and in the hospital. So not sure if you can pull a sick man from his bed. And the third name that I've heard is Hong-min, who is the manager of Ulsan Hyundai, the reigning K-League champions. Hong-min also said, I believe in the past, that he would never manage the national team again. And he actually was a terrible manager, I believe, for the senior team. So I never want to see him manage the national team. And so all these options are terrible. I don't know who's coming. But God, I just hope it's someone not worse than Jurgen Klinsmann. All right, guys, so there's one more thing that we have to talk about before I end this video. And it's about the Heung-min and Kang-in beef, quote unquote. Even though we don't know the full details of the fight, we're seeing toxic Heung-min and Kang-in fanboys on social media attack one another and say, F your player, he should never play for the national team again, banish them, they're selfish, they're pricks, they don't know how to be part of a team. It's one of the dumbest things I've seen. Fights, guys, happen, especially in a locker room with 26 egotistical and high-achieving men, especially Korean men. There have been multiple dust-ups, I believe, at pretty much every single tournament for a Korean national team. Heck, for any national team. I believe at the 2018 Asian Games, there was a big fight in the locker room after the second group stage game where they lost against Malaysia. That's according to the excellent Korean football writer Steve Han. Big fight happens, they move on, they squash it, and that 2018 team wins the Asian Games gold medal and gets Heung-min and Hwang Hee-chan their military exemptions. The only reason this story is a big deal right now is because we lost in the way we did against Jordan, and it's most likely that the KFA leaked this story to take the heat off their own asses, especially Mong-gyu. I don't believe in these conspiracies about Heung-min being a bad leader or Kang-in being a little punk. Maybe there's some kernels of truth out there, but at the end of the day, we didn't see these types of problems on the field, in my opinion. It seemed like things were fine. And that's really all that matters. You don't have to like everyone in a locker room. From most of the things we've seen, Heung-min is well respected and well liked, and Kang-in is seen as a cute younger brother who's very, very talented and is considered the future of the national team. So when I see Korean netizens post so many hate comments on Kang-in's social media talking about how you're a rude little bitch, you should never play for the national team again, it's crazy, guys. It's just utterly crazy. And it shows you how fickle the average football fan can be, but also how stupid it is to take sides and be honestly part of a cult for a person who doesn't even know you exist. And I'm talking about these Heung-min and Kang-in fanboys that would defend these players no matter what. If they were found guilty of sexual assault or murder in the first degree, y'all would still find a way to justify it and give an excuse for these guys, even though you never met them, hiding behind your fake profile pictures on social media because you're too scared to show your own face. It's beef that happens. It's squashed. It's done. Heung-min is the captain of the national team, and he probably will still remain so until he retires. And Kang-in is the future of the next generation, who will most likely be the captain after Sonny retires. The main thing we have to do is support these guys, get Mong-gyu and Jurgen Klinsmann out, and foster a positive environment, not a toxic K-netizen environment. Foster a positive environment where these guys want to play for the shirt and want to play for the fans and bring home a damn trophy. Because it's going to be 67 years when we go to Saudi Arabia in 2027 for that Asian Cup since we've won anything. Come on, guys, we have to do better.